Tao. The heart is your total being. And when you are total, you know the total. Remember this always. Only the similar can know the similar. When you are fragmentary, you cannot know the total. As within, so is without. When you are both within and without, when you are total within, the total reality without is revealed to you then. When you are fragmented within, without also reveals to you fragmented. If you attain to inner totality, then whatsoever you see outside will appear to you to be total. As is the inner, so is the outer. When you are fragmented within, the reality too is fragmented. When you are fragmented within, the reality appears to you to be fragmented without. So whatsoever you are within will be the without for you as well. If you are happy within, you will see the happiness all around. Deep in the heart, the whole world is totally different. The gestalt is different. I am looking at you. If I am looking at you through the head, through the intellect, through one of the parts of knowing, then a few are friends here, then a few friends are here, individuals, egos, all separate. But if I am looking at you through the window, through the mind of the eye, mind of the heart, or through the vision of the heart, then individuals are not here. Then just an oceanic consciousness around, just an oceanic consciousness around. And the individuals around are just waves in the ocean of consciousness, rising and falling. If I look at you through the heart, then you and your neighbor are not two. Then the reality is between you and your neighbor. Both you and the neighbor are just two poles, and the real is just in between two poles of the same reality. Then here there is an ocean of consciousness in which both you and the neighbor exist as waves. You understand the difference. Heart means totality. Your eyes can get damaged, but you do not die. Your hearing power may disappear, still you do not die. Your hand may cut off or paralyze, you do not die. But if anything happens to the heart, you stop breathing, the heart stops functioning, you will not be alive. So totality is the heart, not the mind. These are the fragments. And when you are looking anything, this is what happens. When you touch someone, there is a different feeling, and you are seeing the person through the eyes, you're hearing him through the ears, you touch him, all these carry different vibrations. At one point, you may agree, the other you may not. These eyes, ears, and the touch does not give the same expression. The breath that was within you just a moment ago has left you. Now it is moving into your neighbor just as moment before, because two people are sitting in one room. There is an atmosphere which is composed of the air, and this air has all that you have exhaled is inhaled by the other person. The breath that was within you just a moment ago, and it has left you, now the same air is entering through the nostrils of your neighbor or the person who is sitting next to you, with who you are in conflict, is entering into that person. It was your life and you would have died without it, and now it is moving into the neighbor. It is his life now. Your breath that has been exhaled has become the life in the other. Your body is continuously radiating vibrations. You are a radiant. So life energy is continuously moving from one to the other. And this lifelong energy is moving, and your lifelong energy is moving into the other, and his lifelong energy in the form of breath is entering into you each moment. You and your spouse may be sitting next to each other on the couch in total disagreement, maybe in fight, but you forget to realize that whatsoever is exhaled out of you, the life that you have exhaled, is inhaled by the other. If I look at you from my heart, if I look at you with loving eyes, if I look at you totally, then you are just radiating the points that is radiating, and life is moving continuously from you to the other and from the other to you in the form of breath, incoming breath and the outgoing breath. And you are not only just in this room, the whole universe is a constant flux of life energy. It goes on moving. There are not two individual units. It is a cosmic whole. But through the intellect, the cosmic oneness never appears. Instead, two fragments, atomic fragments appear. And this is the question which cannot be comprehended through the intellect. The mind that is in constant turmoil or disturbance, both you and the spouse are sitting on the same couch, touching one another. The feet is on the ground and somehow there runs a current. It will not escape. Any both of them will have the shock, and yet still out of their asinine wisdom go on saying, "Don't touch me." It is the practical experience of each one of us. Yet still we consider ourselves to be highly spiritual. Spirituality is a deep understanding that we are a pool of an ocean of consciousness, and the individuals are like waves rising and falling every moment. Every moment there is an interaction of the breath, and from one to the other. You nourish the other nourishes you. Every moment this is happening. If you are total within, then the totality without is revealed to you. If you are happy within, you will see everywhere happiness. If there has the spring has come within, you will see spring all around. And this is not a question which can be comprehended through intellect. Intellect is fragment. If you try to comprehend through the intellect, it is impossible to comprehend it in its totality. It is total. Different outlooks from different points of existence. From the mind, you see it differently. These are the shades that are there on our eyes. A sad person will see sadness all around. A happy person will see happiness all around. It all depends upon the point, the way you look at the things around. If you are total within, that totality will reflect without. Some have called that revelation God realization. This when inner and outer are both one. Vivekananda said the reality lies within, outside is a mere reflection of that. So some have called this revelation as God realization, and some have called it as moksha, liberation. Some have called it as nirvana, cessation. Different words altogether, different words, but they signify the same experience of oneness, one essence. One thing is basic to all these expressions that appear to be different. The individual disappears. As an individual, you disappear, there remains only pool of consciousness, and you are like a wave rising on the surface of the ocean. You may call it God realization. Then you are no longer an individual. You can call it liberation. Then you are no longer a self. You can call it cessation. as Buddha called it, then just as a lamp, a flame ceases to be, the flame that was there, the moment you blow out, where does it go? No one knows where has it gone. Where has it come from? Then, just as a lamp, a flame ceases to be, disappears, and you cannot find it anywhere again. You cannot locate it. It has gone into the non-being, non-existence. So the individuals disappear, and this point has to be introspected over. Why do all religions say that the individuals, the self, the ego disappears when you realize the truth in its eternal glory? Why do all the religions say this? Why do all religions say that individual, the self, the ego disappears when you realize the truth? If all religions emphasize this, this means the self must be illusory. Otherwise, how can it disappear? The self must not be there, really. Only then it can disappear. This may seem to be paradoxical, but this is so. Only that which cannot disappear, that which cannot disappear, that will always persist in the being. It cannot disappear. That is the truth. That always is, never born, never died. That always exists. Just because of the head, a false entity has come into the being, the individual, and we consider ourselves to be individuals. If you come down to the heart, the false entity disappears. Then you are not two persons, but two waves arising from the same source, the ocean of consciousness. It was the creation of the head. From the heart, the cosmic is, the individual is not. When your consciousness descends to the heart center, then you see oneness all around, both within and without. Then you see that every individual is a separate wave rising on the surface of the ocean of consciousness. When you are not means you are no more ego, no more individuality. What you are then? Pure innocence. And innocence is the door to bliss. Innocence means that there is no misery. When you are not, innocence means you are not. When you are not, there can be no anxiety, no suffering. All anxiety, all sufferings exist because of you. The shadow, the shadow of shadow. The self is unreal and ego is unreal because it appears to be existing, but it does not exist. All anxiety, all suffering exists because of you, the shadow of shadows. The self is unreal, the ego is unreal. And because of that unreal self, many unreal shadows are created. When something does not exist and you consider it as existing, Many shadows are created around that. They follow you and you are fighting with them, but you can never be victorious because you are fighting with something that does not exist. Your struggle is with the ego that does not exist. Swami Ram Tirth is reported to have said somewhere that he was staying in the house, a poor village house. The small children of the villager were playing just in front of the door, in front of the hut, and the sun was rising, and the child saw his shadow. He tried to catch it, but the more he tried, the more the shadow would move ahead. This is the situation that I saw. I heard one lovely sunny morning. A dog was sitting silently. Suddenly, he saw the reflection, the shadow of his tail, and he was trying to capture it. The child was trying to catch the shadow, but he could not. The more he tried to capture it, the more it moved away from him, and he began to cry. It was a failure for him. He tried in many ways to catch it, but it was impossible. The shadow is impossible to catch, and we are all trying to catch the shadows. That is the misery. Not because the shadow is such a difficult thing to catch, it is impossible because the child was moving to catch it. And as he was moving along with him, in the same way, the shadow was moving. Something that is moving constantly in a changing mode. You cannot capture it. When he was moving, the shadow was moving ahead. You cannot catch a shadow because a shadow has no substance. The only substance, only a substance can be catched. Ram Tirth was sitting there, he was laughing and the child was crying. The mother was at a loss about what to do, how to console the child. So she said to Ram Tirth, Swamiji, can you help me? Ram Tirth went to the child, caught the child's hand and put it on his hand. The shadow was caught. Now that child had put his hand on his hand, and again the shadow was caught. The child started laughing. Now he could see that his hand has caught his shadow because he put his hand on his hand. You cannot catch a shadow, but you can catch yourself. The moment you catch yourself, the shadow is caught and you are no more in illusion. Suffering is just a shadow of the ego. Suffering, misery, and all that you consider as reality are the shadows of ego. We are like that child fighting with suffering, anxiety, anguish, and trying to disperse them. We can never be victorious in doing so. It is not a question of strength. The whole effort is absurd and impossible. You must catch the self, the ego, and once you have caught hold of the ego and you realize this, suffering suddenly disappears. That it was the shadow. It was the shadow that you have. And this is what awakening is. Knowing the reality that ego is does not exist, it is a false identity, and it is not, how can you capture the shadow of it? The misery, the disturbance, the frustration are all shadows of ego. Suffering is just a shadow of ego. There are persons who start fighting with the self. It has been taught, disperse the self, be egoless, and you will be in bliss. So they start fighting with the self, fighting with the ego. Like if you fight, like, but if you light, if you fight, you are still believing. Fight means you are believing in the existence of ego and the self. If it does not exist, you do not bother about it. The moment you are fighting with it, there is a belief in you that it still self exists, the ego exists. Your fight will give a food to it. It becomes an energy giving thing to it, as if you are giving the energy. You will be feeding it. This technique says, do not think of the ego, just move from the head to the heart, and the ego will disappear, because ego is the fragrance of the mind. And the moment you leave the mind and energy descends, comes down to the heart center, the shadow of misery disappears. Ego is the projection of the head. Do not fight with it. And you can go on fighting for lives and lives together, nothing will happen. And you will never win. As if you are fighting like the dog who's trying to capture his tail on in the cozy winter light of the sun. Enough for now.